Finally, we're going to try to make this thing run. But first, we've got some things to wrap up, like some airlines. And once we get all those buttoned up, chase down a few leaks, then we got to try to get the brakes released. They're rusted up from sitting for a while. Gonna put the shifter knob together and put it on. And then we can try to drag the thing up onto the cement. It's probably not going to cooperate. But once we get that done, we can put the fuel tank on, hook that thing up, and then maybe throw a battery in it, and hopefully it'll run. So stick around and see how it all went. Finally found my roll pin for this guy. It's in one of my pockets. You get that thing banged in there. There. Cleaned it up a tiny bit. That away. When I move the thingy up there, it'll move the thingy down there. So let's see about driving that in there. Whack it the last little bit with the punch so I don't hit my paint. There. The thing up there is now connected to the thing down there. I gotta crawl up there and peel all the tape off that shifter before it becomes permanent. I guess I'll sit on top of the engine. Well, this is fun. You gotta see how I'm jammed up in here. If you leave this tape on here for very long, as you can see, it will become part of whatever it is you're taping. Turns into a big goopy gummy mess. And I'll have to take a little acetone or whatever to get some of this residue off, but I forgot I had this tape on here. I'm out here trying to do some work on the Cabover, trying to take advantage of a substantial temperature drop. It's been in the upper 90s and now it's in the 70s with a little rain, so it's kind of hampering my efforts to do some recording. I'm trying to get this assembly mounted back on the transmission. It's got 3 lines. One goes right straight to the air tank, and the other 2 just tee into it. I'm not sure what this is actually. It's a supply over here. It looks like a water separator type thing, or some kind of a pressure regulator. It says Eaton on it, so I don't know. We got to try to snake some lines in here. I can't record everything because it starts raining, so I got to get one line kind of snaked up in there, down up towards the center of your photo there. This little fella goes right into some packed out real estate due to my air dryer. So I got the thing wrapped in a pair of old drawers to hopefully keep it from scratching up paint. Might have to feed both lines through. Yeah, that's the hot ticket there. So I've kind of got the thing wiggled around in here. These are new air hoses that I put on a long time ago. This bracket used to mount it right here. I'm going to have to probably fabricate a new one. Fortunately, this hose is long enough to get snaked down to there. This was originally here, so obviously it can't occupy that space anymore. So it looks like I got enough length. So I'm going to try to get in there and tighten that up. I suppose you can watch that too. I got your face crammed up in the frame rail, so hopefully you can kind of see something. Honestly, you can probably see better than I can. Let's see, it goes into here. Lordy. this was obviously attached to the transmission at the factory before it was in the truck. Okay, so got the thing kind of snaggled up in there. Well, it seems to me that there isn't any super good place to put it here where it's not at a goofy angle. I mean, I could put it down here lower. My air hoses are in the way there. My cross member's in the way from going too much higher. I gotta come out of here, either swiveled or whatever, to go over to my air tank. Let me think on it. So after some prayer and consternation, I do believe that right about here is going to be the ideal location for this. This hose here that comes down to the bottom here is going to be too short, but I'll be able to just build, well, maybe modify the factory bracket and come right off of this on the air dryer. Just mount it right there. And then I can come straight down or back or whatever with my airline. I'm not going to use this fitting, but use that style. But I think that's going to be the best option. Here's the old factory bracket for that thing. Got a little U-bolt there that goes around it. This may actually work just fine. It used to be mounted, let's see, something like that. Alright. Right there. That bolt hole and that one went here and here. Like so. But I think I can flip her over and come right here. That's crazy. Literally, it looks like it's made for it. It's like perfectly level and everything. So this guy, just go right here. So my long-term objective this video is to potentially get the thing running. I don't know if we're gonna get there or not, but early on, that is my intention. I've got to start compressing these Cabover videos down to a little shorter length, but maybe more importantly, a lot more content in each video, because the views are down significantly on the Cabover build series, even though there's more videos in the Cabover series than any of my other ones. I think this is video like 38. So clearly I need to get more action worked in and a little less of the boring stuff. Well, it's raining again. It fits great. And this guy, I've got a route to the top of that air tank. So get a different kind of, probably put a 90-degree fitting and use the style I've used everywhere else. I've had these fittings covered up with masking tape on the truck. It's crazy how much the weather, sun, affects the finish. See all those dark marks? That's just what was exposed to daylight, and the shiny parts had tape on them. Well, I'm getting rained on. That's good morning's work though. Got the hard line in all the way to the air dryer, permanently mounted. Got the, I'm gonna call it an air dryer assembly mounted. The line's hooked up to that. This is what I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm wet and it's wet. That's gonna go right here. Snake right over to the top of that air tank. Then I gotta do my splitter hoses and put the shift knob on. Replace all my splitter lines. Go right here and somewhere down off in there. But getting rained on. Probably use that guy. I don't remember what type of fitting that is, but either that one or that one that's plugged. And that should get my air lines going. I'll tell you, it's nice having a battery box cover because I can lay tools on it without having to worry about scratching paint. And I don't know what I'm doing here yet. cab jack pump. It was mounted here, which I can do again, no worries. It needs restored or replaced, but I don't know if that's where I want it. Probably temporarily I can put it there. Needs new lines. And then also my fuel filter assembly. This was originally mounted, let's see, I'm trying to remember. I think it was remounted right here because it had, yeah, that's right, because it had rubbed a hole in the face of the fuel tank. So it was mounted right here. So I'm going to mount it underneath where it'll be easy to get to. So then I'll have to get a replacement fuel line to go from there into the bottom of the tank. So that's going to all be stuff I got to figure out here real quick. But not when it's raining. So many months ago, I took apart the original Eaton Fuller Road Ranger shifter. It worked. It was just dirty, all gunked up. I blasted it, painted it, got everything clean. Just got to put it back together. And just for reference, I've got another one. I don't know if this one works or not, but it's not an OEM. I like it, the ones that actually say Fuller on them. So this one, the chrome is in marginally better shape, and you can buy new ones, but they look just like this. So it's got some nicks and bumps and bruises, but it's kind of to me, kind of a tribute to all the guys that drove this truck over the years. So I'm gonna see if I can put the thing back together. So I got my old fuel line that went from the filter housing over to the tank. The tank was on that end. So I can get another one made. I mean, I could potentially just run this for now, just get the truck running. Then I've got my old adapters off the old tank. And over here, we got the new tank, and I'm just trying to figure out what fittings I'm gonna have to have. This is the bottom of the tank. So that'll just thread right in. So that's all good and squared away. And then down there on the face of it, on the other end, this guy is gonna have to go like right here on the other end of the tank. Those are for the return lines. So I'm going to run that through the media blaster, get it all cleaned up, and probably paint it and get a new fitting, and we'll be good to go for all that. Another thing I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to unbolt this bracket here from the bottom of this bracket. I have no idea what this even does. It has nothing in it or on it since I've had the truck. And I'm going to relocate my filter housing, which is still peeing diesel. Try that the other way. Anyways, and we're going to mount this like there, pretty much where that's sitting, but I'm going to unbolt this guy and run it through the media blaster because it looks terrible. We got the truck all kind of jacked up at a weird angle because I'm working on it, so it's a little bit more sketchy trying to get in it, and I'm fighting bees. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that shifter knob in there and start hooking up the lines. So all nice and restored, factory part numbers and all that on there. It's like putting a candle in the birthday cake, except it ain't a cake. That thing is so smooth right now. It was all gummy and crap before. Sweet. I just gotta hook up the lines. I went through the process of labeling all my lines here with tape when I took them off. And then the tape aged and you can't see the marks. So I gotta look up the routing for them. My new line's all black. Some of these are colored, but I'll do that off camera. Shifter's tight, baby. I don't know if it works or not yet, but that's the job well done. All my lines hooked up. She's smooth. And then down here on the bottom, I just got them all roughly kind of zip tied. I'm going to be doing a clean and paint on the engine here for long, so I'm not trying to get them permanently routed. Somehow, in my ignorance, I got one on top of the cab latch rod assembly, which is fine because I'll be pulling it off to sandblast it and whatnot when I paint the engine. So right now they're just kind of going to where they go. Guess I don't need these old ones no more. They're nasty. Ugh. Nylon wrap. Well, it's kind of a big moment. This truck has been completely dead for 2 or 3 years, way too long, but I'm gonna shoot air to it and see how many leaks we got. I can't move this truck, even rolling it, until I can get the brakes undone, and I don't feel like caging them. So more than likely I'm gonna have to get under there and pry all the pads loose from the drums, at least on that side where they collect water, but I'm gonna go shoot air to it. I don't hear no air leak yet. Let her air up and see what we find here shortly. Well, I aired it up. You're bubbling in the compressor. I assume it's oil. This little fella's leaking just a little. Probably just snug that up. That's all that'll need. And then my splitter lines are just barely leaking. 1 or 2 of them. We're maintaining 120 psi. You know, I can only hear the 2 leaks. There. Right there. On the splitter works. Anywho's, that's a good sign. I've been playing a really fun game of whack-a-mole on the park brake system. I forgot to put that glad hand system back on there, so it was, as soon as I released the brakes, it was a rooster and air out of there. My shop air is just high enough that it's pushing the blow-off open a little bit, but I've gone around, pried all the brakes loose. I'm not sure if that one's free or not, but even after digging all the gravel out from behind the tires, it still won't roll. And it's kind of downhill, so I guess I'm gonna go get the tractor and kind of drag it that way, see if I can get her to move. Well, that was fun. And that's about how long it's been sitting there. This is where the fronts was. Oil leak. You can't tell, but she sunk down about 5 inches right there. It's quite the chore getting out of this hole. Now that's what I'm talking about. Working on flat ground. I have no idea why I didn't just put this truck right here to begin with. All this rolling around the gravel I've done for a couple of years. Now I can just kind of set my fuel tanks up either on blankets or whatever and just kind of whoop with the strap. That's going to be nice. Well, I got my new rubber pads glued in to the bottom of these mounts. Got my tank over there ready to get put in. Got tarp on the ground to hold the tank straps, which I got to go get and run up through these holes and put a nut on. They're just going to go on loose for now, but they're just going to kind of lay down there on the ground on those tarps so they don't get scratched. Game plan is just to kind of roll that in there. It's on one of those car dolly things, so I don't know how much higher I'll have to pick it up, but once I get the thing in there, then I'll see about putting blocks under the ends and kind of doing that number. I got rubber pads glued to the insides of those now. Got everything set up. Got blocks to set the ends of the tanks on. Here and here and towels. So about to roll that dude over there. Well, I approve of that message. Still need to hit that with a fine polish. Wasn't trying to get it flawless when still had a lot of work to do. It looks great. Well, I'm excited. I am almost to the point of finding out if we still have a running truck or not. Got to put a couple of fuel lines on. My reason for not changing them yet is two. One, they're very expensive. And two, they're all going to be custom length, and I don't have time to go mess with that right now. For example, this one that comes out right there only needs to go to here, but I've got like 36 feet, and it only needs to be that long. I've got that line to hook up and this line to hook up. They both go right here. You saw this assembly earlier. And the last one, that big guy, goes from our restored filter assembly, goes from right there down to that hump on the bottom. So I'll probably do that off camera, but then we put batteries in it and see what happens. I guess we'll need fuel too, huh? Got the battery box cleaned out. Had rocks and dirt and gravel in it. It's got minor corrosion, but nothing severe. I think when I do the front half of the clip here, I'm going to just take this thing off and have it powder coated and the brackets associated with it. Somebody going in here a long time ago and power washed and painted the frame rails. Kind of a rattle can job, but still, it's better. They didn't touch this. It's all green still, factory color. So sooner or later, I might pull that off before I do all that, but I'm probably going to powder coat that. It's going to be better. So I've got my fuel lines all hooked up. Hopefully they don't leak. I have two brand new batteries, $350 worth, and I have two old batteries of marginal quality. One's about to blow the top right out of it, but they did show 12 volts, so two good ones two bad ones, although I didn't check the voltage on those. Anyways, we're gonna throw them up in here. Gotta find a picture for how they were connected before. $350 for the batteries, for 2 batteries. Pay to play, you know what I mean? I'm definitely going to be putting the cover on these while these are sitting. These don't look very healthy. I think these are where they need to be. Okay, let me hook up some cables and see if we can do any damage here. Got my batteries in it. Got everything hooked up with the negative side. I couldn't find my crossover, so I had to build another one, and I didn't have a large enough cable, so I had to jumper two together. It'll work just fine. I'm gonna shoot the power to it there, see what happens. Looking over here, I notice I've got a sensor disconnected. It looks like a ground connected there. I need to check that mess first, but I don't know whether that's going to keep it from running or not. So we'll just bump the starter, see if it spins. If it spins, then I'm not worried about it. We'll fool with that later. Also got that little guy, just in case things go wrong. So now we're going to find out if we have any dead shorts. All right, I'm gonna hook them up kind of loose in case I got to pull them off in a hurry, and then we'll move on to priming the fuel system, dumping some diesel in, see if it'll go. When nothing's on fire or letting smoke out. And it didn't pop real hard when I hooked the battery up. Now, considering the fuel system, I consulted the Facebook experts, which can be quite risky, about how to get a system running that's been down for a long time. And surprisingly, there was a consensus that this is just what they call a PT pump, and all you got to do is fill the tank, fill the filter, which I already did, and you can prime the pump itself by shooting diesel right into here. Well, that's going to be a pain in the butt to get off, so I have to wait a second for that. Not sure exactly how much you're supposed to put in here. I'm gonna just start with a little. Supposedly it just overflows out of the top, which is pretty easy if you're just pouring it on the top. Oh, I reckon that's it. It's full to the top. Let me put the plug back in and we'll put some fuel in there. I put the battery cover back on because one of those old batteries was smelling kind of farty when I hooked it up. I don't want it to blow up in my face. So I happened to take a gander down into the abyss of my fuel tank, and I saw 2 of my own shop towels in there. Literally no idea how they got there. Now I'm faced with another problem. I gotta go find the key for this. That's a good feeling. I'll be right back. I found a key. It says cabby. I even drew a little Cabover on it. Let's go up here and see what happens when we turn the key. We should get a low air alarm. I'll set you up outside to see if we do anything else. See if any smoke comes out. I really haven't done anything in the dash. Gas gauge doesn't work, but it's moving, so that means everything's got power. I have no idea what gauges worked or didn't. I don't remember. I'm going to see if the engine moves when I bump the key. Yes. Well, I'm going to set you guys up outside and we're going to see what happens. I've heard that you shouldn't have to crank them much and they'll fire up. If they cough and die, sometimes you can refill the filter, refill the pump again, see what happens. This motor has always started well, so guess it's a moment of truth. And I'm sure hoping for some luck, so wish me some. So the objective is to just see if it'll run, make sure it builds oil pressure. I'll jump out of the truck if it starts, which I don't expect it to fire up right away, and do a quick leak check. Nothing's leaking now, but who knows? It's been 3 years. That's my dad. It worked. good to me. Well, that was an epic win if there ever was one. Only two problems I noticed. One is the heater core lines. One of them was leaking because apparently the shutoff valve doesn't close all the way. The old fittings I just had to cut because they're corroded up to the bottom of the unit, so they were leaking a little bit when I revved it up. Charging system still doesn't work. What else? The only other problem was the low air alarm in the dash never went off, even though we built plenty of pressure. So I don't know if that's electrically operated through a switch or if it's air operated. So that's not really a problem. So I'm gonna call this a huge win. When you have a big project like this, it just feels like sometimes you're not getting anywhere, and it's easy to get kind of down in the dumps a little bit. So this is a huge motivational kind of keep it going down the road kind of thing. So ran good, the oil pressure was great. As it kind of bled the air out of the system, it ran smoother. Still got a little bit of air trapped in it, I think, but without having to crack all the injectors or the lines open or whatever. It was definitely doing as good as you could expect it to. So I appreciate you watching, and she runs and drives now. Although I'm not going to drive it on the road, at least I can move it. So that's an exciting day. Perfect way to start off a Monday morning. You'll be seeing this video tomorrow, Tuesday. So have a great week. I appreciate you. Finally. What? What are you thinking? Hmm? Let me guess, you're hungry.